jumped to Newt's defense, but you do it. I mean, I think he made a very telling point. Jack Kemp would say, the late Jack Kemp would say, don't skip the poor, get them out of poverty, don't throw, life boys to them, pull them by a rope.
That's what the generation of conservatives was claiming they were trying to do. Whether they succeeded at all with Reagan and Bush is a question, but they did try. But these things are related. The tin ear and the lack of ideology are related. It's all mechanical with Mitt Romney. He doesn't hear the music of politics. He has no peripheral vision about it, and he's always trying to prove now that he's a tough guy who believes in the markets, which is why he says, let's let the housing market bottom out. And
so that we can rent to people.
Yeah, and corporations are people, my friend. And
I like to fire people. And by the way, there he was today with the chief firer. And I do want to ask you, because you seem to be sympathetic to his situation, which is what you have to be when you cover these guys, trying to figure out what their situation is. Do people like Stu Stevens, the people around who are very smart, who write novels, do they go to him afterwards, and does he get the look from them like the mother who goes to the kid, you did it again? I just got the call from the teacher. Do they have to tell him when he blows it?
I think he understands that this was inartfully put yesterday. I don't think there's anybody who needs to tell him that. I think there are some people around him who are blunt. I think Chris Christie, for one, is someone who has become a blunt advisor behind this.
Calls him up and says, "Get
and speaks in the way Chris Christie does to all of us, which is pretty unmistakable.
None of your business.
And the other thing, you were showing the clip with Newt Gingrich. Newt Gingrich had a great image right after the clip that you showed, which was, "I don't want a safety net, I want a trampoline for the poor," which is a great image and one that would put Democrats on the spot.
Yeah, well, because it would say a lot of the old neighborhoods have been poor for a long time, and you Democrats have been so-called representatives of those districts, and you haven't improved a lot of those people in those poor neighborhoods.
There's an argument you can make.
Chris Christie notwithstanding, most of the people around Mitt Romney are telling him it's the media, watch out. In other words, what one of them told me yesterday is that he had said this before. Why are you guys making such a big deal of it now?
Okay, blame the messenger. Let's take a look at some of the very strong reaction on the right in the conservative media. In an article entitled, "What is Wrong with This Guy?" the National Review's Jonah Goldberg wrote, quote, "The underemphasized dynamic in this race isn't that Romney isn't conservative enough, it's that he's simply not a good enough politician. He may be the most electable on paper, but every time he seems to get into his groove and pull away, he says things that make people think he doesn't know how to play the game." Well, that's pretty cynical, but he made his point. The Wall Street Journal wrote in an editorial today, quote, "Like Twain said of Wagner's music, Mr. Romney's better than he sounds." While on the conservative blog Red State, Eric Erickson wrote, "I'm not sure I'll waste my time defending Romney in the general election. Sure, I'll vote for him, but I think I'll focus on House and Senate races, so when the buyer's remorse sets in on those who did back Romney, we're not completely screwed down the ballot." Well, this doesn't surprise me from him. He's pretty far over.
Here's the thinking among those people, some of whom I know quite well. They're thinking, we don't love Mitt Romney, okay? He's maybe a Massachusetts moderate. He doesn't understand the conservative movement. He's trying to make himself a conservative.
Well, Newt calls him a liberal now.
Okay, but if we're going to take him, let's at least have a good politician. Let's have a guy who's good at being a politician. So if he's not with them ideologically and he's bad technically, on what grounds are the conservatives going to accept him? That's what Jonah Goldberg and the others are saying. Laura Ingraham, who I know well, who I just spoke to, I said, "Hey, is he hopeless?"
Well,
she said, "No, he's not hopeless, but he's not there yet."
Look at his rap sheet, guys. I should also tell my story. I'm also unemployed. We could raise taxes on people. Corporations are people, my friend.
My friend, I like that.
Oh, let's take a look at it all. Let's take a look at it on tape. I didn't know we had it on tape. Here it is, some of his sort of chain of infamy here.
I should also tell my story. I'm also unemployed. We could raise taxes on people. That's not the way. Corporations are people, my friend. Rick, I'll tell you what. 10,000 bucks. $10,000 bet.
I'm not in the betting business.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I know what it's like to worry whether you're going to get fired. There were a couple of times I wondered whether I was going to get a pink slip. It also means that if you don't like what they do, you can fire them. I like being able to fire people who provide services to me. I'm not concerned about the very poor. We have a safety net there. If it needs a repair, I'll fix it. I'm not concerned about the very rich. They're doing just fine.